Hey guys, it's Greg. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be checking out the new Paul Gilbert MOJO MOJO Overdrive. Now I know what you're thinking. Paul Gilbert MOJO MOJO? Can you pronounce it? What the heck is this stupid thing? Is this even a real pedal? Shut up and don't be silly. It is. And that's the whole point of this video, is to go over it. You're welcome. Alright, so the eternal wait is finally over. This got announced 3-4 months ago, and ever since then, it's been on pre-order, but not actually available. So now that it's here, is it really worth all the insane hype? I'd say yes, but there's a caveat, but we'll get to that. First of all, what is the pedal? What does it do? How is it different from his classic Mojo Mojo Overdrive? Well, the biggest difference, number one, it's purple. Who doesn't love that? But number two, it goes to 11. It has this little switch that makes it go to 11. Oh, I know, right? Holy grail, finally achieved. It is. All right, so really basic pedal. We have 4 controls on here. We have drive, which is the amount of gain. We have treble, bass, and volume. And of course, the most important, the 11 switch. So even though this pedal is obviously aimed at more higher gain overdrive, you can still click the switch down and get, if you want like just a low gain or mid gain kind of thing, you can totally do that. But we're not here for that. This whole demo, we're going to 11. All right. But the biggest thing I think about this that really surprised me, this is an extremely dark overdrive. It really doesn't sound good with a lot of darker or bass heavy kind of things. So I'm pairing this with my brightest guitar, which is my Legator guitar with Dragonfire Screamer pickups. And we're putting this through my Marshall. I've tried it through a couple other amps, a couple other guitars. It is really, really bass heavy and very dark. Even for this demo, I'm gonna have the bass set as low as it can possibly go, and it still has a ton of bass. So if you click the 11 down, there's less bass. If you click the 11 up, there's gonna be more, and just because of the gain saturation on this, it's just dark in general. But if you dial it in just right with the right kind of brighter guitar and set your amp just right, you can get a really, really great Paul Gilbert kind of classic 80s Racer X tone. And in this demo, that's what we're going to focus on. In the very first clip, I'll show you just the Marshall by itself, and then we'll hear it back to back with the overdrive on. And the rest of the time, this overdrive is going to be on. We're going to be going through classic Paul Gilbert Racer X licks, both rhythms and leads. All right, enough of the talky talk. Let's get to the playing on 11. Alright guys, that'll do it for this demo. What do you think? Does this nail the classic kind of Paul Gilbert overdrive that you think of when you think of his music? To me, I think of that kind of Racer X, Paul Gilbert kind of stuff. I don't think of like the Mr. Big kind of ballady stuff. I think of just this classic 80s style distortion. Paired with a Marshall, I think it totally gets you that little bit of nuance that he always has, very articulate. But again, it is very dark. So did you like that it's dark? Did you hate that it's dark? Or are we somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and all that jazz. And I'll summon you for the next video. Bling, 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 bling.
What?
Just laughing at myself, so stupid. Bling, bling.